getting down to the last couple of games here, Dave, are you really focused on anything specific that needs to round into form before these games start meaning a couple points? Like, what's your focus on versus roster spots?
First of all, both special teams, probably more weighted on the penalty kill, trying to make sure we got that in order. There's some things we've talked about in our 5-on-5 game we want to continue to work on. And, each day that we kind of go through this process of getting things done, we'll highlight certain things, which we did today. So there's parts of our game, and then you're looking at players. You're looking at how things fit together and the rhythm of our lineup. So lots to learn about our team still in the last couple of games.
I think you said after last game you would have liked to have seen the penalty kill a little bit more. And not that anyone needs to go take penalties on purpose, but the difference between watching guys do it in practice versus out here, you really need to see it at some point with specific guys.
Live action is better, especially, the power play out there that's practicing for us is pretty good. So you get a look at guys, but you're not in shooting lanes. You're not doing things like that are real barometers of how they're going to play out in a game. So not that I want to take penalties, but I'd like to see some guys get a little more action there tonight.
Dave, what do you want to see out of the line with McLeod and Benson and Sevier?
They just got to be solid. So bring energy. Sevier's he's one of the guys we want to. We've got to make a decision on. Solid player, just up and down, but they've got to. From that bottom group there, we're looking for. You're not going to play 20 minutes a game, but is it 10 minutes? Is it 12 minutes? Is it 8 minutes? You got to have an impact on the game, not just kill the clock. And whether it's create some chances, some penalty killing stuff, but and create momentum for us. So there's a bunch of things like that you kind of look for that they have to have an impact on the game in their own way, where a positive impact. So those are the things we're looking at. Especially, I look at Benson and McLeod. They should be full of energy tonight. Go out and play with a ton of energy and try to create something, make something happen in the game. So that's those are that we're looking for that bottom six to do.
A fourth line, do you pretty much need to have special team people on a fourth line? If they're not on either penalty kill or power play, they don't get much ice time. So you like to get guys on that fourth line who can do one or the other?
Well, it all depends. They can bring energy. There's other ways to bring something to the table, even if you're not on a special team, and the way our team is set up, the power play, that number one group gets a big chunk of it, so there's a lot of people looking for special team stuff, penalty kill stuff. It all depends what you have in the top part of your lineup to penalty kill that you got to fill out the penalty killers, so we'll see how it goes tonight. Like, we've tried Benson and McLeod penalty killing. Sevier's a penalty killer. Ryan's a penalty killer down there. We've tried Fogle at it a little bit. He'll get a little more tonight. So it's more about bringing something to the table. Leave the special teams out. What are you bringing to the table? And that's what we're looking for.
With Hyman, is that a huge plus for a coach that you can play him on the first line, on the second line, on right wing, on left wing?
Yeah, that's one of the things we talked about when we acquired him. He's comfortable wherever you put him. He's comfortable with whoever he plays with, and he's going to go out and play his similar hard game no matter where he is in the lineup or who he's playing with. So it's a great, from a coaching standpoint. You look down the bench, you have a guy that A, is going to get the job done, and B, doesn't care where he is. He's just going to do it anyway. So nice to have.
And would Hyman and Nugent Hopkins be your number one penalty killing unit?
I don't know number one. I don't know if we number them all. It depends what's happening. That can depend on who takes the penalty. If Nuge and Hyman are out for a long shift and we take a penalty, they're not going to start the penalty kill. So we'd like to play them together, see what they can do together, but I wouldn't put a number on it. Some of it depends on, like Derek Ryan will get a lot of starts, especially if the starts are on our right side for the face-off. So there's different factors that come into play there rather than call them 1, 2, or 3 or whatever they are.
Thank you.
Hi, Dave. With the addition of guys like Zach and Warren, you're deeper up front. Does that make it more comfortable for you to have Leon and Connor on the same line, knowing that, you're going to have potentially some offensive help on the other lines?
Potentially. I mean, we want to look at, came into camp, we had a couple different scenarios we wanted to look at, and playing Draisaitl and McDavid were one of them, and then playing together to see how things would mesh with them together and with the new players we've added. So that was in the works since the start of camp, and now we've got to the position where we got down in numbers. We're going to try it for a day or two and see how it goes. But I think the reality is you're going to see it at times during the year, whether they're apart or together, and we'll see how it best fits. And sometimes, like you saw the other night in the Calgary game, that's something that I've used before, where you go 2 periods and all of a sudden, boom, you put them together, and you load up the one line. You hope you can create a spark. But I like our depth this year, where you got a guy like Hyman that can go down there with Nuge, and even Fogle on your third line. It gives us more depth that you feel more comfortable doing that. So we'll see how it goes tonight.
Obviously, Leon and Connor are two of the best players in the world, but they're also guys who like to have the puck on their stick, which, you would think could be a potential issue when they play together, but it really hasn't. So why are they able to play so well together?
That's not an issue for them when they play together if you watch them. They're very willing to share it, but they have it a lot, I'll give you that. So they, I don't know, they have a knack together that is pretty special.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Dave, you've talked about how no one's really played themselves off the team. And so when it comes down to the last couple of spots and it's really close, what are some things you and your staff talk about that ultimately decided? Different attributes as opposed to having two guys who same thing? Give me an idea.
All those factors come in. You talk about rhythm of our lineup, special team stuff, penalty killer stuff, size, energy, grit. There's some business implications that come into it. I mean, there's a lot of factors right now as you're trying to get down to your roster. That being said, I think all, depending on what happens with Sevier, whether Ken wants to sign him or not, but everybody that we have on our roster right now, I think at some point will play games for us this year. You need depth. Like, we're at 26 guys now. You need that depth. Archibald is still out, but you need that depth. So, there's going to be some people that aren't going to start in that opening day lineup. Doesn't mean they're not in the lineup the next day or the next game. So I like where we're at depth-wise. We've got to put it together. I said this early in the summer. I like the names that we've added. They look good on paper, but we got to get on the ice and make sure that there's a rhythm in our lineup and everybody's doing their job and a cohesive group that allows you to win. So that's what we're looking for. There'll be adjustments made along the way, and that's just part of being a deeper team.
Dave, one last question about you're keeping 8 defensemen as opposed to 14 forwards. Is that still up in the air, or as a coach, what would you rather see?
No, that's all up in the air. Some of that comes down to business, some of it, rosters, not losing people. There's a lot of factors that come into that, so we're not there yet. We'll wait till after Saturday's game before we get there.
Dave, just to backtrack on Zach Hyman, you had a chance to watch him a lot last year in particular with being in the same division. Is there something that you've learned over the past 3-4 weeks, getting to know Zach a little bit more, that you didn't really expect of him or about him coming in?
You know what you do? You learn his personality. And you see him from a player, you see he's a worker, you hear secondhand about, his personality, but you get to know him as a person. I've gone out to dinner with him, we talk quite a bit. He's a very intelligent guy. I know my wife bought one of his books for my grandson, so he's, there's lots to learn about a guy off the ice. But on the ice, you have a pretty good idea what he's going to do, because when you sign him, you look at him a lot and figure out. But he's, it's been really interesting to see him gel with our group. It feels like he's been here for a while, so he's one of those guys, so we got to get him out on the ice, get him in the rhythm of our lineup, see where he best fits, situations he best fits in, and allow him to be the best he can be.
Have you read the books?
Have I? No. No, I think they're kids' books.
They are, yeah. No, I just wonder if there are any lessons that you've been able to pick out from any.
I know she just ordered them the other day and sent them to the grandkids, but I didn't even know that he had written books or 3 books or whatever, so now I know. Maybe I should read them.
There you go.
All right, thanks, guys. Oh,
Sorry, Dave. Expectation of Chris Russell in his first game action tonight.
Come in and be the player that Chris Russell is. He's a solid defender. He has the ability to move the puck well. We're looking for some puck moving there. Just get his game up and going. He's a consummate pro. He works hard at his game. We just need to get him up and going and see where his game's at.
What can a guy like Chris Russell do for a player looking to cement an NHL roster spot come opening night and Evan Bouchard in terms of complementing his game?
Well, they've played a little bit together before, so Rusty does a very good job of making sure you're talking and communicating with his partner, making sure that they know exactly what expectations every shift are. But all of our guys, like Cuckoo, is really good in that sense too. So Bush's game continues to grow, and I like that he's with a veteran guy there and helps him. But Bush's game will continue to expand, and I think whoever's with him will help that process along.
Thanks, Dave.